Hey, Todd Burrier from toddburrier.com. Do you ever wish you didn't have so daggone many obstacles? You know, it's just the way it is, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, obstacles and success, they're partners, right? They are forever coupled. You can't have one without the other. And if you think about it this way, the greater achievement you would like to have in your life, the bigger the obstacles and the more frequently you're going to face them and the more types they're going to be, because duration and degree of effort are going to produce variables, right? And other kinds of obstacles. Some you can plan for and many that you can't, And I'm going to address 3 specific ones in this video. And by the way, at the end of this video, I'm going to make a special announcement. So just to give you a heads up on that. I struggle with my fair share. So the 3 I'm going to talk about here are, I've never met anybody who didn't have all 3 of these. And, that's saying something, considering I've coached and mentored and trained and taught and worked with many, many thousands of people in my career. I had them, the term is I had them in spades, which means I had a lot of them. I don't even know where that saying comes from, but I mean, when you think about my start in the industry, I was a significant introvert, had no sales skills, had no money, really didn't have much time. My self-esteem was just so low. My belief in myself was so very low. The likelihood that I was going to succeed was, seriously, it was so tiny. And yet, I've persevered, and I'm the first one to tell you, I think it was because I had felt such a deep responsibility to my family, and I wanted freedom so bad that I was just willing to do what I had to do, go through what I had to do, no matter how uncomfortable it was and how difficult it was, and it was. And I'm not saying my case is anything special. I think that for everybody's everybody's issues and struggles and challenges they're all relative, and so. I'm not saying mine were any worse than anybody else. I just know that mine were hard. And then yet, though, over the years, I've made several $1 million in this industry, from the comfort of my home, with doing all kinds of great things in my bare feet, and being able to invest myself in what I really care about, which is teaching and helping and training people. And so I know these obstacles. I'm dealing with obstacles now, right? We all have obstacles. And so these particular ones, you have them, your teams have them, everybody you sponsor has them, even the people you don't sponsor have them, right? It's just the truth. So I'm going to talk about these 3 and a little bit about what you can do about them just here. And there are 5 foundational ones, so I'm just talking about 3 of them here. So the first one is fear, and you're probably like, duh, yeah, of course, fear. Yes, of course, fear. But we really have to, for years I said, fear, come on, that's not being mature. But that's not true. That was immature of me to say that. Yeah, true. The degree that you feel fear and experience it has a lot to do with what your life has been like and what you've been through, because things that will scare some people don't even faze other people because they've been through worse. But what kind of fears will you have here? It's pretty simple in building your business. Fear of failure is a major one, right? You could say they're all fear of failure, but they're not, but they are. Fear of criticism is another. Fear of other people's opinion and what they'll think about you. Fear of loss of approval, right? Fear of a loss of a social standing. There's so many different kinds of fears that people have. But really, we have to understand what fear actually is. There's a great acronym for it, right? Fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. It's actually not far off of the dictionary definition for fear, which is essentially the emotion, an intense emotion. That's how they describe it. An intense emotion based on the belief of danger, right, or a potential threat. But see, the where you got to look at it is, it's an emotion and it's based on a belief. That's a perception, which means it's the actual fear. When you're dealing with the thing you have fear about, you don't have fear in that moment because you're in the moment and you're dealing with it. And so if you think about it, fear is all in the head, right? It's really all in the head. And of course, it's a natural thing because, hundreds and thousands of years ago, fear was useful in a lot of regard, because there were lots of things that could really take out a human being, right? Things that walked on the earth. And so we have that instinct. It's just part of our survival instinct. But it's like all confused. Now it's all confused. I mean, do you think someone who spent time running from a tiger, it really cares what someone thinks? If you think about it that way, I mean, that's the point. And so if we understand that it's really an emotion and it's a belief, then we can work on it, right? We can work on it, because just because you believe something doesn't make it true, right? I mean, a belief is a thought you continue to think. Doesn't mean it's a real thing. It just means that's a thought you continue to think, much like the world was flat, right? So, you can work on that. And there are two specific things that I do that make a huge difference. So one is, especially in the face of criticism, because you could bring all these fears, all of them, you channel them right back to fear of failure. Because if you didn't have any fear of failing, then you wouldn't fear criticism, because you'd know in the long run you'd win out, right? You wouldn't care about someone's opinion, because you're like, well, you know better, right? So they really all come down to fear of failure. They're just different varieties and different flavors. It was Aristotle that said, if you don't want criticism, then do nothing, say nothing, be nothing, and you won't get any criticism. That's a good thing to remember. You have to be doing something to get criticism. But really, in the context of what you want to do, is you're going to get criticized. You're going to have other people think that what you're doing isn't the right thing for you, based on what they believe about themselves, by the way. Remember that. You can just smile. For me, I just smile, because I'm always nice. I believe in always being nice, because I understand the relational aspect, and I know that people don't know what I know about certain things, even though there's stuff I don't know that they know, right? But when it comes to this industry, and even way back when I got started, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I knew that I was going to try to do it, right? So, someone's opinion wasn't going to put food on my table. It wasn't going to take care of my children. And so I would just smile and say, hey, thanks for your opinion. I wasn't mean about it. That's not my nature anyway. So if you smile, right, you continue to smile through it, people start leaving you alone, because they realize that it's not affecting you. At least they won't believe that. And then the other thing is act. The number one way, and I already alluded to this when I talked about fear before, but when you take action, you're not fearful in the action, because you're too busy being in the action. And so the fear of here, right, is really of someone saying no, or what they might say, or the rejection. But when you're in the middle of it, you don't have time to think about it. And the more you do it, the less you fear it. And the more you understand it, right, that it's really not even about you, right, which I teach in all of my prospecting stuff and my presentation stuff, then it makes it easy, right? So taking action, you can act your way into a place where you just have no fear at all, because really, the gist is, the only way to not be criticized or not have the potential to fail is to do nothing. To do nothing in life. And if you do nothing, you already have failed, right? That's a fact. You have misused the gifts that you've been blessed with. So fear is something you deal with by smiling and acting over and over and over, and you will obliterate it over time. I know, I did. Second is distractions. Distractions are a challenge for everybody, and they can come in so many flavors, right? Just distractions of your house, right? Or where you live, and the stuff that you can be doing, right? Your laundry and your yard and your garden and cleaning up, and you're like, Tom, that's real stuff. I know it's real stuff, right? And I'm not saying you should never do it, although you might consider times in your future that it might not be the best use of your time, but that's for a different conversation. It's usually not relevant for someone getting started. But the fact is, but when you do those things instead, then they're distractions, because there are ways to make sure you do what you're supposed to do, right? So you build your business. But then you have shiny objects, right? Lots of shiny objects. In today's world, your cell phone is a shiny object, right? Everywhere you look, there's an email dinging and a text bopping up, and then you have all kinds of other opportunities and people in the space, and man, you can just go boop, 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 get nothing done, right? Because you're just looking at everything, right? And then people, the people in your life, the ones you even care about, can be distractions, right? And I'm not saying that's something you want to remove. I'm saying that you have to understand how to manage your distractions. And then you desire to want to play. Instant gratification is a distraction. And then old habits. Habits are distractions, right? Things you're used to doing that are not valuable for you, right? They're not going to help you get where you're trying to go. And maybe you're used to watching that TV show every night at a certain time, or going and doing a certain thing that's not productive, right? For what you're trying to accomplish. Hey, I'm a big believer in do the things you enjoy in life. But do what you have to do, then you can do what you want to do. And if you do what you have to do enough and in the right way, doing the right things, especially in this business, eventually you can do what you want to do as much as you want to do it. If someone who's not building this business typically, or is not building their own mega business of some sort, never gets that opportunity, right? Until they retire, and then they can't usually afford it. But that's a whole nother story. So distractions are there. So how do you deal with distractions? Because I had them all, especially had them all. So I was extremely undisciplined. I grew up, it's really funny now because my wife tells me how insanely disciplined I am. And people think of me as highly disciplined, but I trained myself to be that way. So first, you have to get a handle on your priorities. You get a handle on your priorities, what really matters to you. And then those distractions that don't fit into those priorities, then you recognize them for what they are. They are not proper uses of your time, and therefore don't deserve your time, right? In that space. If it comes in the way of doing your work, it doesn't deserve your time. But you have to get your priorities clear to know that. And then you have to discipline yourself to plan and work in your priorities. Those two things, and I mentioned valuing time earlier, you'll learn how to do that later. There's certain things that I'm not very handy. So I pay someone to do everything that there is around my house that has to be done. I pay someone to do my lawn. Why? Because it's not a good use of my time. My time is more valuable doing something else. And you'll get to that place. I wasn't always like that because before I had to account for every dollar. And I didn't see it that way yet. Well, I couldn't, you could say I should have operated that way anyway then. And you can. It's better to start that way sooner rather than later, because if you're properly using yourself and your time, then you're being productive. But that's how you deal with it, priorities and discipline. And the third is self-belief. Self-belief, fear and self-belief, I think for me, self-belief was even worse than dealing with the fear. That was probably my biggest obstacle. Because the fear, but I was going to do it anyway. But the self-belief, that really, am I worthy? Can I really do it? These kinds of things don't happen for me. Good stuff doesn't work out for me. I can't say everybody, but most people had that terrible, awful dialogue in their brain where they're just reflecting all that bad stuff in the world that's been chattering in. And so for me, it was really difficult because I had such low self-confidence and such low self-belief and self-esteem that I really just purely felt like I wasn't good enough to do this. And even though other people were doing it, right? So, that I used that same priorities and discipline model to pour personal development in to me. I poured it into me. I read every day and acted. I listened every day to people and acted. I'm talking about speakers and trainers and teachers like Jim Rohn and Stephen Covey and Ogden Dino and John Maxwell and I could go on and on and on with the list. And I just constantly pounded myself with that content. And then I read stories about people who have overcome odds and done different things in their life, to give me encouragement and inspiration. And then I learned what my strengths were. And those are the three primary things I want to give you to do. One is personal development. You got to be conscious of it. And I'm a freak about it, and I teach it in a big way. And I'm going to produce quite a bit of digital personal development material for sale in the future because it's such a game changer, and it's an area that I have a lot of experience in. And have taught for years in the corporate settings. And then the stories, make sure you're putting good stories in your brain, reading people, listening to people who've accomplished things, and then understand what your strengths are, which I go over that in my 6 Decisions CD. I have a really big set. It's all personal development, actually. So there's the three primary beliefs and what you can do about them. I said before there's 5, and I'll combine this quick thing here as we wrap up. My special announcement is that I've been asked for years to create a digital training, something where you can hear my voice and it's not going to be me, but slides and get the information deeply through my process and my basic training, because I am a master at teaching people how to build the business from a people perspective that works in any system and works in any capacity that you're working, because it's people principles. And so I am releasing that in 5 days. From right now, from this day of this blog showing up for you, in 5 days, I think it's the 25th of July, will be the release of my long-awaited blueprint process, really video series. It's 2.5 hours, more than 2.5 hours of recorded content, and it's the kind of stuff where the people that use it, it will help them dramatically. It's like my book times 100. So anyway, you'll get more details on that in the coming days, but that will be 5 days away from release. I hope you appreciate this message today. I cover all 5 in the training, but my next couple of blogs will be some topics that will be relative. So are all my lives on Facebook right now. So anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope you found this helpful. Please share this blog with people. Lots of people need this message. They need to understand it. Let's go help a bunch of people. All right. Hey, have a great rest of your day.